Hi there everybody, and welcome to the robot build log number 1. My name is Jeff. I don't have a cool name like MKBHD or AVE, Arduino vs. Evil, or New Boston like some of my other favorite YouTube channels, but that doesn't matter. That'll come in due time. What does matter is that I'm going to build a friggin' cool robot and show you guys how to do it. What am I building? Well, this is my plan. This is everything I've got so far. It's going to be a robot. It's going to look cool, but it's going to allow me to interact with my family 4,000 kilometers away, because right now I work in Western Canada and I live in Eastern Canada, and I'm gone for 2 weeks at a time, and I miss my wife and my baby girl, so I want to build this robot to be able to drive around my house and talk to them and maybe play hide and seek or make my wife coffee and learn a lot of cool things along the way. So I figure I'll put this on YouTube. That'll help me kind of track my progress as I go. It'll help teach you guys, give back to the community, and it'll help me learn. I think by explaining everything as I go, it'll help me learn a little bit more and force me to understand a little bit more so I can teach it properly. And of course, everything I do, like everything I learn, is going to be free. I'll give back all my code to the community. I'll probably put it up on my website, and just make sure that everything I do and learn I can share and help everybody else as I go along. So to get right into it, this is my robot, and this is the physical machine I've got in mind. And basically, it's going to have these components. It's got to have Wi-Fi so I can communicate on the internet and give it directions. It'll have speakers to obviously maybe put my voice through or play music through or something. A camera for vision. I've got a camera ordered for the Raspberry Pi, and I've got a little backup USB camera just for another view. It'll have lights. It'll have a Raspberry Pi brain, which will be like the main, I guess the main terminal in the robot, and it'll give instructions also to a Arduino Mega. It'll have arms, because all robots gotta have arms, and one of them will be a grabber, but the other one will be like a multi-attachment arm. I'll hook up different things, maybe a Nerf gun, or I don't know actually. All I've thought of so far is a Nerf gun, but there'll be other attachments that can go on there. So yeah, at the bottom there is your Arduino mechanical controller, and that'll run all like the simple stuff like the motors for the wheels or the tracks, whatever I decide, for the torso, for the arms. All the simpler, lower level stuff, and some sensors, and various sensors will be hooked up to it. So I figure I can program that with its own commands and logic, so the actual Raspberry Pi just gives it an instruction and it'll run all the code itself to follow through. I'll probably run it on LiPos, LiPo battery packs. I've got a couple ordered from Banggood right now, and I want to have some sort of docking connection so I can just drive up and dock it. And yeah, ultrasonic sensors. What I don't have on here is also a gyro and maybe GPS. I live out in the country, so I can probably drive it around outside if I have GPS and stuff like that. But I'm sure all of this will change. But right now, this is just my plan. I'm sure like a lot of this stuff will change as I learn more. This is kind of how everything's gonna connect in theory, in my limited knowledge theory right now. So on the left hand side I've got a laptop, and that's where I'll kind of control the whole thing from, and it will connect through the internet with hopefully a Java app on both the laptop and on the Raspberry Pi 3. I chose Java because I've been learning it and it seems to run on every platform. I've been learning it with the New Boston on his YouTube page, along with like millions of other people. That's such an awesome site if you want to learn. And something about sockets. So yeah, I literally just researched that stuff last night. So I'll connect to the internet and hopefully connect to the Raspberry Pi and communicate like that. The Raspberry Pi will have a camera, it'll have the lights, it'll have the speakers all hooked up, probably be powered by outside sources, but the communication will be to the Raspberry Pi. Last night I drew this diagram, but I almost might change the SPI connection to what is it, I2C. I'm not sure though. Somehow Raspberry Pi and Arduino Mega are going to communicate to each other. There's 3 different types I was looking at: SPI, the I2C, and RS232 or something like that. I need to look into it a little more, but there are ways to communicate between the two. And if all else fails, I'll just use like just GPIO logic connections. Speaking of which, the Raspberry Pi puts out 3.3 volts from its GPIO pins, and the Arduino operates at 5. I think you can convert the Arduino to 3.3, but I've already ordered the logic converters, so yeah, I will get those hooked up. The Arduino then will control the drive motors, the arm and claw movement, torso motors, and the sensors, and whatever else I decide to put in there. Alright, so this is all fine and dandy, but how can I actually make this thing? Like, I am not an engineer. I'm not any of the jobs that would allow you to make this kind of thing. I'm a cook. But what I have been doing is over the past couple of years been getting interested in this stuff, and you can see on my other YouTube videos, like my CNC machine, my ghetto bot. I have been dabbling, and I've been learning a little bit of programming, a little bit of this and that. So, this is a little page of what I got here. So what I know so far, very basic Arduino programming. I learn what I need as I go. Same thing, very basic Java, very basic Android. Pretty decent in Excel and VBA. I've been using that a lot at work, and it just, the whole programming languages, I guess, help you just kind of understand how things work. So if you're familiar with one, it helps you think like a computer, I feel. So I kind of, that helps anyway. I have general tech knowledge. I like to fix things, tear things apart, blah, blah, blah. And 3D modeling in CAD. I learned SolidWorks, probably 10 years ago when I was going to university. And a little bit of CAD, I guess. And I have some math skills. I can fairly figure things out when I need to. Experience. When I was 14, built a computer, like tear apart, fix stuff, like working on my truck, my wife's car. I built my ghetto bot, like I talked about. I built a Folger Tech 3D printer kit, and I built, I guess, 2 DIY CNCs from scratch. First one was literally out of crap from torn apart printers, and the second one is actually functional. It's got a 5.5 watt laser, and it has a DeWalt cutting tool, like a router. Tools and equipment I've got so far: 3D printer and CNC, power tools. I got a house to work in, which is a big deal. Space to work in, super important. I got a whole bunch of scrap materials from tearing crap apart, building things in my house. And I got a bunch of stuff en route from AliExpress or Banggood. Batteries, little sensors, controllers, blah, blah, blah. It's all super cheap stuff. I've got less than $100 invested into that, including the Raspberry Pi, which is about 50, I think. Canadian pesos, that is. Then I've got the Arduino. So where am I at now? So I've got, there it is. I've got my Raspberry Pi and my Arduino, and I've got a touchscreen there and laptop and all my junk. It's my travel bag, I guess. I'm up at work. So what else here? So these are my goals. All right. So I wrote down some goals, what I want out of this thing. All right. I want to make a Telepresence robot. That's what I told you guys already. That's basically, I want to control this robot from far away. I want to learn more about Java and GUIs. I eventually want to be able to control this thing from, a GUI that I wrote. Want to learn more about Linux and Arduino. I want to explore electromechanical systems, like how the robot functions, and different, I guess, like, I don't know, levers or linear drives or motors and gears and all that crap. Like, that's all electromechanical stuff, and I think all that stuff's really cool. I want to learn some networking stuff, like that's, how it's going to communicate between my laptop and this little thing 4,000 kilometers away. I don't know if I'll actually get this far into it, but learn PID control and Kalman filters. Eventually, I'll probably automate either this robot or another one to vacuum my floor. Probably build another one, but yeah. I want to make my wife coffee from 4,000 kilometers away. That was actually my #1 daydream, is that wouldn't it be cool if while I'm gone I could still be a good husband and make my wife some coffee from work and just bring it to her. I think that'd be so cool. And yeah, I'd probably get kisses for that. Learn some video skills. I think I definitely need to work on some video skills, and that is one commitment, that I will not shoot these videos on my crappy $100 Walmart cell phone. with my shaky hands. And actually, I've got a decent little script here, I guess. And I want to give back to the community. I think the internet is such a cool place, and you can learn so much cool stuff. And I feel like we're really lucky right now to be able to go and literally learn anything you want. Anything you want, you can learn it on the internet. Whether it's just people putting up YouTube videos, or questions in forums, or even things like MIT's OpenCourseWare or Coursera. I mean, you can even do university courses online. Like, everything is free for you to learn, you know? Fix it yourself, build it yourself, do it yourself. You have all the information, and I want to give back to that, and I want to share and compile all this information and just spread the love, you know? So watch out for robot build log number 2, and talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.